Welcome to Just a Cup on Believe, an organic conversation with the world's greatest athletes and the coaches that coach them, just as if we were in a coffee shop having a cup of coffee. And today I have an amazing guest. I'll tell you what, you will find out with the personality she's going to present, an amazing one. Charisma Taylor. So she went to Washington State, then was a grad school transfer at the University of Tennessee. She's won 6 international medals. She is the Bahamian national record holder in the triple jump, but she doesn't just do the triple jump. We'll get into that a little bit more. Just recently coming off of a World Indoor Championship performance in Scotland. Charisma, thanks for joining Just a Cup. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Brian. I'm excited to be here.
All right, wait. Let's talk Scotland right off the bat. And before we get, have you ever seen the? As soon as I think of Scotland, you ever seen the Scotland elevator kind of like skit on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
If you haven't, go to YouTube. Just put in Scotland elevator. It was on a comedy show in Britain. I crack up every time I see it. My wife thinks it's crazy because she's like, okay, it was funny once. You watch it like 50,000 times and you still laugh, but it's just the accent. But so it's a World Indoor Championship here in Scotland. You're getting to compete. What is it like being on the world stage in a country that you don't belong to, that you're not from, that you're not in? What's that like?
It's an experience. I feel like it's very exciting because I'm like, oh, this is somewhere I've never been. I get to experience new cultures, experience like how the people are, and then just essentially do what I love and travel and, make money from doing it. So it's just like, it's a great experience to know that, I'm traveling the world, finding, new friends from all over the world and just get to do my sport, to do the thing that I love. It's just a great experience just knowing that, I'm just going all over the world.
I love it. Hey, so speaking of going all over the world, you started your collegiate journey off in Pullman, Washington, Washington State. I've been there. Tony Bennett, good friend, basketball coach there formerly, and Rick Salone, love the guy. I mean, part of me is like, Pullman? And when I went there the first time, I mean, that's out there. What was that like being from the Bahamas and then ending up in Pullman, Washington?
Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background before I got to Pullman, actually.
Okay.
So I actually did my 12th year in Geneva, Ohio at Spire
Institute. Yeah. Okay.
Spire. And I feel like Spire and Pullman are kind of alike in terms of like just it being very small and just,
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So, went to Spire, everything was great. Then I actually went to the University of Arkansas freshman year. Didn't work out. Yeah, I got injured. So I transferred to Washington State. And honestly, I really liked being in Pullman because, like I said, it's small. And, coming from a small country, a small island, everyone knows each other and everything. It's just like, okay, this isn't like a culture shock for me. So this is kind of like up my alley. I am in a little small town. I know a lot of the people. So Pullman was a really great time. I love Pullman, Washington. It's beautiful.
The weather difference though? That's a little bit different than the Bahamas. I live in Florida, so it's a little more similar.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. It was cold, but I think Ohio prepared me for that because going from the Bahamas to Ohio, I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have a proper jacket, like literally this thin of a jacket I had. It was so thin. I had to go and buy a jacket and everything, but going to Pullman, I was prepared. I think it was like a little bit worse, not gonna lie.
A little bit colder, probably.
Just a little bit. Yeah. And then the weather was like cold too.
What was it like the first time you saw snow? Because for most people that are in the United States, they're like, what do you mean it's the first time you saw snow? You come to Bahamas, it's hot all the time.
Literally. It was like, I knew I was going to see it. I saw it in Ohio and I was in class and everyone knew that it was going to snow, and everyone knew that
Okay.
I've never seen snow before. And so the
I
teacher
love it.
she stopped class, and everyone was like, okay, guys, we're going to go outside now. And Charisma's going to experience her first snow and make a snowman and everything. And it was just so
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
It was just like, I don't even know. It was just such a great experience.
That is fantastic.
I'll never forget that.
Did you like do the whole snow angel thing?
Oh
Like
yeah, I did everything. I did everything. Did the snowballs, had a little snowball fight. It was great. It was great.
So, I mean, that would have been in the cell phone era. I mean, like, I'm fortunate and I'm so thankful that the Lord never put me in, the cell phone era where you could take videos of everything, because I probably wouldn't be able to do what I do now. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some good cell phone footage. You get some social media stuff of you playing in the snow to send back to friends back home.
I have a picture of my first snowman, and I can send that to you.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It was so nice. I just loved it, and everyone was just so happy for me, and you could tell that I was in my glory.
Well, I mean, what's it like being an athlete in the Bahamas, which, I mean, it's so close to the United States. I mean, it's obviously right across the waterway.
Yeah.
Being in an athlete in the NCAA system, which is, the best system or the best competition, I should say, in the world outside of like the World Championships and the Olympics.
Right.
What was that like, coming around? How the whole kind of, hey, I want to go to the US to go to school, to keep progressing and track and to get education. How did that all come about?
Actually, I knew, so like in high school, I was in a club and did track and field since I was 7 years.
Give a shout out to the club. What club was it?
Club Monica with
There
Coach
you go.
Diane Woodside, yes.
There you go.
James Roll and Coach Peter Pratt. Those are the people that got me to where I am. If without them, I would not be here. So
amen.
Shout out to them. Like them.
I love it.
Yeah. So it was in Club Monica. The Bahamas is very in tune with like America, and so we knew all about like colleges and everything. And I remember like sitting on the couch watching NCAAs in Oregon, and just being like, oh, one day I'm gonna be there. But I just never knew like what school I wanted to go to, or like D1 and D2, and I never really understood that. But I was just like, I just want to go to college in the States, and I just want to run and be in Oregon running at NCAAs. Wasn't even sure about indoors. Like I didn't really have much, because obviously we're in the heat, so we didn't have an indoor season. So I didn't really know much about indoors. I was just like, just want to go there and run at Oregon and be great. So honestly, just watching TV. We just sat down, watched a lot of the TV, and then Carifta was when a lot of the college coaches came to Carifta, and that's kind of like when I really like knew. And I won two Cariftas in a row in the long jump and the triple jump, and I had fell 3 Cariftas in a row in the hurdles. And so I was being heavily recruited for just jumps because I was really good in the jumps. And then that is when I was like, oh wow, these colleges, University of Florida, University of Kentucky at the time with Coach Flo. I was just like, Ohio State, so many colleges wanted me, and I'm like, okay, I got to get serious about this. Let's kind of dig in. And my dad is so really good at like researching and finding out everything that needs to be, known about track and field. And shout out to my dad, shout out to my mom. My dad's like my coach. So
I love that.
Yeah, so just basically watching TV and learning from research.
What advice for somebody that's back in your home country or somebody that's in the Caribbean? I mean, what advice would you give them if you could go back and give them advice for the whole college recruiting process?
Oh my gosh. Take your time.
Put you on the spot. I put you on the spot there. Take your time.
I'm thinking back to like my experience, and I'm just like, I feel like I got very overwhelmed with how many schools were contacting me. So I would probably say like, take a step back and really evaluate what schools you want to go to, what events you want to do, like what do you want from the schools. It's not only about like running, academics is a big part of, being a student athlete, to be eligible to go to many of these schools, you have to be smart. So really focus on like your schooling and focus on the grades, because I feel like a lot of Bahamian athletes don't really focus on the student part. They're just focused on just running. If I run fast, I go to a good school. That's not the case. You need to have the brains as well. So I think, and I was fortunate and I was blessed enough to, be smart in high school. So I didn't really have a problem with that, but just take your time. Coaches can be very demanding. Coaches are
a little pushy. Come
pushy.
on. No way would an American college coach be pushy.
Yeah, pushy. So I would say if it's a school you're interested in, just take your time and really research and see if it's what you want. And it's okay to not know, what major you want to do or anything. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you get to see a bunch of different places and be in a bunch of situations, and your current coach right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say he's kind of a Bahamian legend in the jumps.
Oh yeah.
So talk to me about the post college. So you go there, you have success in college, and then you get into the post collegiate realm of sports, the professional realm of sports.
Yeah.
And Coach Sands is one of your coaches, and you're training up at Florida State in Tallahassee, which is a little ways away from me, but it's still in the same state of Florida. I mean, I could probably get across the Caribbean and back before I could get from South Florida up to Tallahassee. That's how far away it is. Oh yeah. I'm going to venture to say it's probably like 6 hours or so.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably more than that. But what's that like, getting the mentorship and the coaching for somebody that has been an elite level jumper?
Yeah.
And has been there, done that, is kind of your coach, your mentor. I mean, Coach Kane is also your coach in the hurdles, training in Tallahassee. But Coach Sands is, I mean, what's that like, learning from a legend?
Growing up, I've always, and you can look at like interviews of me and like as a young girl, I've always said that like I look up to so many, Bahamian greats, and I always say Levan Sands because he's a triple jumper. He's a Bahamian triple jumper that has made it so far in this sport. And, I had always aspired to, be like him or be even greater than him. And when I was younger, I was like, I want him to be my coach. I've always said that. I always like wanted him to be my coach. We have pictures together when we were younger at track meets, and I was just fangirling and just to see it all come full circle, it's just such a blessing. And, it's just very, very heartwarming to know that like I'm working under someone that I really appreciate, really value, really respect. So it's just, and to know that, he's been through what I'm going through, like going to international meets and going on the European circuit and doing all of this. And I did that by myself this past indoor season. And, he knew, so he was able to tell me like certain things, what not to do, what to do when you're over there. So it's just good to be in the same corner as someone who's already been there. And it's even better because, he's my countryman from the same
absolutely.
Place. Yeah.
Give me one word to describe him as a coach. Passionate. That's a great word.
Passionate. Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, as being, a Bahamian, and it's funny. I mean, you could take a ferry to the Bahamas from where I live here in Florida. And I was so fired up to go over the Christmas time. We were going to the Bahamas Bowl. And the football game. And then they got canceled. Yeah. My wife was so mad because she thought it was cool to go watch an American football game in the Bahamas.
Yep.
And, is that something? I mean, track and field is probably the biggest sport in the Bahamas. Yeah. Are there other sports that, have that kind of notoriety? I mean, I still kind of laugh when I think like, okay, American football in the Bahamas, but it'd have been cool. And hopefully next year we can make that trip.
It might sound, I don't know if you know this, but our national sport is cricket. So
really?
Yep, our national sport is cricket, and we have a one cricket field, and I don't think anyone uses it. And I don't think anyone watches cricket like in the Bahamas, and it's just like I have no
I mean,
idea.
I can see. I mean, the West Indies has a great, team,
Exactly.
and India and Pakistan and stuff. I would never in a million years. If you'd have said name the national sport, I could have guessed 100 times. Cricket would not have been one.
I know. Yeah, but yeah, cricket doesn't get. We don't. It's not.
Now, did you do any other sports growing up other than track and field?
I did actually. I started off as a soccer player. Well, I started soccer and track at the same time, and I was actually on the Bahamas national team for soccer.
Really?
Yeah, yep. And I had to always run from the soccer field to the track for a track meet, and it was
conditioning.
Always, yeah. So that's why, like, when people say about like triple jump and hurdles, it's just like I've been doing this all my life, going from one to the next. And I played a little bit of softball as well.
Now that's another thing. I would have never thought the Bahamas would have softball.
Yeah, we do it for like school, high school, like inter school games.
Inter-school kind of games between the schools.
Yeah, and then we have like a whole championship and everything. It's fun.
Oh, wow. So your the indoor season finished up, competing in the world championships. You're going to outdoors. When do you open up? Or are you opening up sometime soon? Or
so
when does your outdoor season kind of get going?
Yeah, so I'll actually be doing the 200 tomorrow at the home meet here. It's just a part of training, nothing too serious.
Sure.
And I haven't ran it in 3 years. So I kind of want to see what I'm going to
run. Oh boy!
So we'll see how that goes. And then I go to Tom Jones, Florida Relays next week.
Okay.
I'll be doing the triple jump just from a short approach, and then the 4x1 with the Bahamas team. So it's gonna be fun. So we'll
I remember, I don't know what Olympics, the Golden Girls, right?
Yep.
The group with Debbie Ferguson, and I mean that
Pauline.
was Pauline. Oh goodness, Pauline, amazing woman.
Coach. She's the
really
coach on one team. Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
She, I remember, back when she was competing and stuff like that. I'm getting a little bit older, but I mean that team. What would have been that like as an athlete growing up and kind of seeing that where, you have a group of young ladies that were at the top of the world from a tiny little country. We're not talking about, China or Brazil or the United States. We're talking about Bahamas. Like, well, first off, how big is the Bahamas in comparison to,
Man, we have about, I want to say like 500,000 people. That's our population. That's our population. So there's states that are bigger than the Bahamas.
There's cities in the United States that are bigger than the Bahamas.
Exactly.
I mean, Miami's way bigger than the Bahamas.
Right. So you can imagine how small that is.
So then what was it like as a young lady when you see the Golden Girls, do what they did on the Olympic stage?
Yeah.
How was that as a woman kind of growing up and seeing that?
The only thing that would come to my head right now would just be like, there's hope. There's hope for me to do that same thing, win a gold medal at the Olympics and be a woman doing it from a small country. And then knowing Pauline and knowing Debbie and knowing Miss Eldise Clark and just knowing all the Golden Girls and like knowing them right now, I can see what it took for them to get to where they are. There's so much heart, and even now, there's so much heart. There's so much love for the sport. Miss Pauline always talks about, working hard and just like never giving up and the mind and everything. It's just like, she even has a book as well, just like explaining basically how she got to where she is. And it's just like, that's such an inspiration. And it's just like, if they can do it when they did it, how many years ago with less resources, less, I guess, athletic training, what's to stop us now from doing this? So I'm just so excited to, have Miss Pauline in my corner because we talk sometimes, and she's very motivational. She's like a mentor to me. And, you know, just to have her in my corner, have an Olympic gold medalist, someone who's been, you know, just been through everything. And it's just very, you know, enlightening to have that. And I know that in the future, when I do accomplish all of my goals, I want to be that for someone else.
So where at from a training standpoint, do you feel like you're ahead of where you want to be, or you're still there? I mean, you're pushing through things.
Yeah. So right now I feel like I'm still pushing through, because just coming off of the indoor season, and, you know, outdoors is, instead of 5 hurdles, it's 10. So
yeah.
Yeah. So
a little bit farther.
Yeah, exactly. On that standpoint, I'm just excited to see what I open up with in the hurdles. I feel like I'm ready for the jumps. I'm just excited because I got to work on a few things. But
what do you like better? Which of do you like hurdling, or do you like jumping?
See, that's a complicated question. Yeah, because
I can appreciate that.
Let me say this. One day it'll be hurdles. Another day, or 1 week, it'll be hurdles. Another week, it'll be jumps. And it'll stay jumps for like maybe 3 weeks, and then go back to hurdling for maybe a month. So it always switches, just kind of like whichever the wind blows. But I've always said from I was young, I want to go to the Olympics for the hurdles and the triple jump. From I was maybe 10 years old. I've always said that.
That's a tall order. That's some athleticism. That's getting it done.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do. And there's a lot of people that, you know, criticize and have their opinions.
But when is the Bahamian National Championships for the Olympic trials?
I think it's June 4th or 5th. So
you've got a little bit of time, but not too much time.
Yeah. I have a couple of meets before then, like maybe I think about 5 meets, so 6 meets. So I have a good schedule so far.
So when you get to travel as track and field, you kind of go all over the world, right? Mm-hmm. What is a country or a city that you've been to that you've really enjoyed?
Ooh.
That kind of stands out.
Okay, Paris, 100%. Paris, France.
Oh, what made that so special?
Because I've always wanted to go to Paris and you know, just do the touristy things, but going there and like literally seeing the Eiffel Tower with my own eyes, walking around, like seeing the actual people in Paris speaking, and it's just like amazing. Like God is just so real. Like it's just like we have this whole world with a bunch of countries, continents, and like I'm a one person and I'm in Paris, France. Like what? Doing something that I love. Like what? I've always dreamt of going to Paris, and I'm just like, I'm here right now, and it's way better than I could have imagined.
What is in the United States? I mean, because obviously been in a bunch, you know, colleges, travel, and stuff like that. Yeah. Has been a competition or a city that's kind of stood out to you?
I think LA. When I was in Washington State, we went to California a lot. So. And I've never been to California before going to Washington State. So it's
a little bit bigger than the Bahamas.
LA. Oh, yeah. Just just a little bit. But I really like the atmosphere in Cali. It's just like chill, laid back. Everyone is cool. You know, you got the sun. It's just like, whew. I would love to go back to Cali. I haven't been in years, but I would love to go back, even if it's just for me.
I'm going to get canceled in Cali, but anybody can have California. If I don't ever have to go back, it's too soon.
Really?
Oh, I'm not a California person. I'm a much more East Coast, you know, kind of person. It is
expensive, though. It is expensive.
Kind of.
And the cost of living is high. But, yeah.
I mean, I say that, and the cost of living down in South Florida isn't that cheap. But, you know, is there a food? I mean, you know, I just had conch fritters, you know, a couple of days ago, and it's one of my favorite Bahamian dishes. You know, is there a certain dish or certain food that you miss that you're like, man, you know, I just want to have that for dinner or lunch?
Bahamian or like anywhere?
Let's go Bahamian first.
Okay. Bahamian, I would have to say steamed conch.
Steamed conch.
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
So it's so good, and you eat it with white rice, and you can have some corn on the side and some coleslaw. Woo!
See,
Only if my grandma makes it though.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the next time you come to the Bahamas, you let me know.
Hey, that I can definitely do, because man,
Yes.
I love it. And it's kind of weird because conk's really not popular in a lot of other Caribbean countries or areas, and it just kind of makes me kind of go, wow, that's a little odd. But
yeah.
Is there another food? Is there like a pre-competition food that you're like, you know what, this is my go-to before I compete?
Spaghetti.
Really?
Spaghetti.
Look at a lot. That seems kind of boring, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just love spaghetti. Spaghetti is so good.
I would say there's not many people
that
that
have like a big gallon bottle of coconut water straight from the coconut.
Oh,
yes.
I'm with you on that. I love coconut water.
Oh my, so refreshing.
First time I ever had it, I was in Jamaica, and Victor Poppy Thomas, who's just got inducted to the Hall of Fame in track and field, I was with him, and we're going. He's like, "Are you thirsty?" And we're driving in the car, and I'm like, "Yeah, I could use something." We're driving, and he literally pulls off the side of the road, and I'm like, "What? There's nothing out here." And there's a guy with a machete.
Yep.
And he gets out, and the guy pulls the machete out, and I'm like, what in the world is getting ready to happen here? He grabs a coconut, slaps the top off of it, pulls out of his pocket, pulls out a straw, sticks it in there. He gets in the car, and he hands it to me, and I'm like, what is this? And it was amazing.
Yep.
And I was still blown away by the fact of the whole machete and the side of the road, and we're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But fresh coconut juice,
it's the best.
Or coconut milk, whatever, unbelievable.
That's the island way. Yep.
Hey, I'll take the island way every time with that for sure.
Me too.
We'll keep going. Before we do that, I need to say something about, hey, you're listening to Just a Cup on Believe. If you've enjoyed the episode so far, please like, subscribe, comment, and share it with others. We're getting so much into these interviews that sometimes I even forget to say this. So we appreciate you listening. Please get more people to listen so we can continue this fun game. I have with me Charisma Taylor from the Bahamas, triple jumper, hurdler, world championships, just getting back. She's getting ready to compete to make a berth at the Olympics here. Favorite city she's been to was Paris, so she's going to get a chance to head back to that amazing city. And we're talking about all kind of stuff. I mean, we're all over the place on this, which is fun. And post athletics, you're done. What is next? Like, what would you want to do when you're done competing as an athlete? Did you have something you want to do or get into?
I do. Yeah, I actually want to go to culinary school. I want
really.
Yep, I want to be a pastry chef and own my own bakery, and probably open it up in the Bahamas, and then I guess probably in the States I want to franchise. So that's been my plan since as long as I can remember.
Why is that? I mean, what led you to? I mean,
Yeah, being home a lot. Watching TV, it would always be on the cooking channel. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I started off with just making dinner and everything. And I'm like, cutting up onions and bell peppers it's a lot. And then I was like, but I like doing it.
Right. Okay.
But what can I do that doesn't require onions and bell peppers and tomatoes and stuff? And then I saw they were baking. And I tried baking, and it was just like I fell in love with it. My parents bought me an Easy Bake Oven, and I used it until it died. So
that's amazing.
Yep. And then
what's your specialty? What's the pastry or that you're most fond of, or that you like to make the most?
So I have a small startup business in the Bahamas. It's called the Pastry Chateau. It started out as Rizzy's cookie jar and just making cookies at first, and then I expanded and I do donuts, cakes, cupcakes, rum cakes.
Ooh, rum cakes are good.
Yeah, so I started. I think the most popular would be the donuts. They just take a long time, but I think my favorite thing to make is probably cheesecake. I haven't made a cheesecake in a long time, but I've made like maybe a million cheesecakes in my younger years.
So where at in the Bahamas is this located?
So it's in home, at home, and then I have like an online platform that you can order and stuff, and I'll deliver it or something, or you can pick up. So right now it's very small.
We'll make sure we put that in the description of the program so you can get some good pastries. I could tear that up. Give me that with a cup of coffee, and I will be a happy individual.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it's always fascinating to hear because it's so unique being a professional athlete, because professional athletics have a shelf life. Then eventually you're done and you have a second career. It's amazing to see where individuals go and what they kind of transition into, and it's all over the place. So, doing the culinary side, where would be the ideal place to take, the culinary courses?
France.
There you go. Hey, you need to put a bug in for folks in France when you're there this summer.
My boyfriend actually, he's French, so he's
okay. Now we're getting to the real part of why Paris is so much.
No. It just so happened that I found him, and it so happened that I love France. So
now, is he a track and field athlete too?
He is. He goes to the University of Tennessee. He's a 400 hurdler.
Oh, there we go. See, we're interweaving this, romance with competition and stuff. That's a big thing. It's becoming more popular. I mean, you see all these athletes that end up getting married and dating and stuff that they met through sport, which is more and more common for sure. I love it. That's great. Now I just embarrassed you. You got a little bit. You're like, man, I said too much.
Should have kept my mouth shut.
Hey, that's okay. That's what this is about. It's just a cup. We're just having a cup, chatting a little bit, talking about all kind of things. So you've got some upcoming competitions, and it goes on into Paris, into the Bahamian trials, and then on to the Olympic Games. Yep. What is something that's unique that you think about the international competition life as a professional athlete? That a normal individual might not realize what you might have to do as a professional track and field athlete.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna talk about my experience on the European circuit indoors. It was so much. Literally, you're on your own. You get put on a plane. You get flown into like a hub, let's say France, and my agent sends me this long list of everything I have to do. Take a train, get a taxi, go to this place, get an Uber, and go around and find a hotel, which is like literally it's like hotel, and then a little small like other shops like around it. So it's just like you have to really look for the hotel. The rooms are so small, and I didn't even know. I was just like, what is this? And you have to share a room with someone that you don't know. So it's just like a lot of things that I've experienced on the international scene. It's just like so different from being in America. The hotel rooms in America are huge.
Absolutely.
It's literally like not even half the size. It's smaller than half the size of a normal hotel room. So,
have you seen the toilet in the shower?
Oh my gosh, yeah. The shower is, and I took videos and everything because I was just so like flabbergasted. The shower and the tub. I mean, the shower and the toilet, literally one step away.
Yep. It's all kind of about. I mean, you could have a shower, while you're on the toilet. I mean, it's just crazy. Exactly. That was one of the most surprising things when I Saw that a long time ago.
Definitely different. I was not expecting that. But I love it though. I just love the experience because now I know how to prepare for it. So it's like I said, it's an experience, and you can see how like people all around the world live.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's get out of here on this question. If you had advice to a young lady that was, having aspirations of being a collegiate or professional track athlete, whatever it might be, what would that advice be?
I'm gonna take it on two aspects. So let's start with the collegiate part. I would say no matter what any coach has told you, no matter what people may say about you, if you feel like you can do a certain thing, then you go and do it. Because there's so many people that tell you, oh, you can't do this, you're not supposed to. But if you believe in yourself and you believe in God, then the possibilities are literally endless. Like you can do anything that you put your mind to once you have God on your side. So I would say keep the faith, continue to push for your dreams and your goals, and don't let anyone deter you from going towards those goals. From a professional standpoint, I would say it can get very lonely, and lean on the people that are closest to you. Especially like if you don't, like me, I don't have a contract as yet. So it's hard, navigating finances and navigating, everything in life, honestly. And so people who have really helped me through are my parents, my best friends, my boyfriend, and it's just my grandma. It's just like I have a circle around me so that even if I feel low, I know who I can go to, and I know, not only my family and my parents and everyone, but I can, lean on God. And I feel like me being a professional has forced me to come closer to God and being more in his presence, because I live by myself. I have a dog. It's me and him. And at the end of the day, I come home and I'm in my house by myself. And it's just like, it can get lonely. But this is like instead of wallowing in lonely and pity and I wish I was this, I wish I could do this, blah, blah, blah. Find out more about yourself, find out more about building a relationship with God. And, once you have peace and joy and happiness, the situation, the worldly things, they're not as big as I thought they were. Because, I'm going to tell you a little short story. Before I promise it's short. Before
that's good.
Before Worlds, I was actually in a kind of dark place. I had like this like really bad foot pain, and I don't know like where it came from. And I had 12 days before I traveled for Worlds, and something in me was just like, you need to fast. So for 12 days, I did a fast from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And just in those 12 days, I was just really trying to build my relationship, build my strength, build my faith, and just kind of like putting away every negative thought, every feeling in my body, putting everything away and just focusing on my relationship with God. And I honestly feel like those 12 days had put me in a whole different perspective, a whole different light. Like my strength, even though like I was hungry and everything, I still felt strong and fast. And I was just like, God, I know that's you, because there's no way that I could have done this without you. I went into the World Championships. Everyone told me, I don't know if you could do this because of the time. The time was very close. And I went in and I was just like, the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I went in and I did what I needed to do. I made finals in both events. And sixth, I feel like that's really good for my first time indoors.
I would say that's pretty good. Being the sixth best in the world is not a bad thing.
Right. And it's just like, I feel like if I didn't do that, I would have been a mess and I wouldn't have been in a peaceful headspace when I was in Worlds. So that's what I would say. Grow your faith. Everyone's is different. So you find the way that you want to build your relationship with God. But I found my way, and it's still it's a journey. Not perfect.
Absolutely. Never ends.
Yeah, right. So, but I feel good. I'm in a good space right now, and I'm very excited for this outdoor season.
Man, I'll tell you what, this has been a great episode. If you happen to catch it at the end, you got to go back and watch it and listen to us a bunch. Charisma Taylor, the name, your parents did a good job, because charisma speaks volumes about who you are and how you kind of have that. I mean, you have charisma. There's no question.
Oh,
it's a name that says it all. You've been listening to Just a Cup on Believe. You can get that at Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. You can get it at believe.com. Hopefully you will make some comments. And if you like the episode, please do that and share it with everybody else. And we'll continue to make this thing grow, continue to reach more and more countries around the world. For Brian Fetzer and my guest, Charisma Taylor, be blessed and have a great one.